Hey Seamsters! Today we're going to be learning about chemistry! Oobleck is an example of a polymer and a non-Newtonian fluid. A polymer is a molecule made from joining smaller molecules known as monomers together. You can think of a polymer as a chain and the monomers as links in the chain. Other examples of polymers include silk, wool, and DNA. A non-Newtonian fluid changes when stress or a force is applied. So when you squeeze a non-Newtonian fluid, it'll act like a solid, and when you release, it'll act like a liquid. Now we're going to show you how to make your own oobleck. For this experiment, you will need a container to mix the oobleck in, cornstarch, water, a measuring cup, something to mix with, and food coloring.
In a bowl, pour 1.5 cups of cornstarch and 1/2 cup of water. Add food coloring and mix. Stir until it has the consistency of honey.
Try squeezing the oobleck. Notice how it becomes a solid.
And when you stop applying a force, the oobleck will run off your hand like a liquid.
An endothermic reaction is a chemical reaction that absorbs energy from its surroundings. You can think of an exothermic reaction as the opposite because it releases energy in the form of heat into its surroundings. So, endo takes, exo releases. This is why in an endothermic reaction, the surroundings get cooler, and in an exothermic reaction, the surroundings get hotter. Now we're going to show you two experiments. The first will be an endothermic reaction, and the second will be an exothermic reaction.
For this experiment, you will need dish soap, 1/2 tablespoon of citric acid, a clear plastic cup, 1/2 tablespoon of baking soda, food coloring, 3 tablespoons of warm water, and a spoon for mixing.
First, fill your cup with 3 tablespoons of warm water.
add a squeeze of dish soap.
Add a drop of food coloring and mix.
Then add half a tablespoon of baking soda and mix again.
Finally, add half of a tablespoon of citric acid to the cup and watch the reaction.
If you touch it, it should feel cold. Baking soda acts as the base and will react with the citric acid to produce carbon dioxide.
The foam that is produced is cold, meaning that the acid-base reaction is endothermic due to absorbing heat instead of releasing heat.
We repeated the same experiment but used 100% lemon juice instead of the citric acid. Since the lemon juice is less concentrated, it created a smaller reaction. For this experiment, you will need a sponge, a foam plate, half a cup of 12% hydrogen peroxide, 1 teaspoon of dry yeast, 4 tablespoons of warm water, dish soap, food coloring, a small cup, a popsicle stick, safety glasses, and gloves.
First, make sure you are outside wearing safety glasses and gloves.
With the sponge on the plate, add 2 different colors of food coloring onto the sponge.
Then, add a squeeze of dish soap onto the sponge. Have the adults handle the hydrogen peroxide.
Adults, you will need to measure out a half a cup of hydrogen peroxide. Pour slowly so that the sponge can absorb all of the hydrogen peroxide.
After handling the hydrogen peroxide, please do not touch your face. Fill the cup with 4 tablespoons of warm water and add 1 teaspoon of yeast. Mix this together for 30 seconds with a popsicle stick.
Finally, pour the mixture onto the sponge and watch the reaction. You can hover your hand over the foam. It should feel warm.
When you are done, place your plate into a trash bag and wash your hands.
If you enjoyed what we learned in this video, you might want to consider pursuing a career in
Chemistry
forensic science
or pharmacology.
If you have any more questions, feel free to write them down in the comment section.
All the materials we used in this video will be listed in the description box below.
Like, subscribe,
And follow us on Instagram.
bye, Seedsters!